There are an awful lot of Grey Lady ghosts here in Nova Scotia. There's a Grey Lady in Annapolis, a Grey Lady up on Citadel Hill, and a Grey Lady on McNabb's Island, to name a few. I'm not sure if that grey is a fashion choice or if it's just the taint of graveyard dirt working its slow transformation upon the traditional white burial shrouds. In any case, I'd like to tell you the story of the Grey Lady of Seaforth, Nova Scotia, a story folks have been telling for longer than a century. Some will tell you that her name was Betty, but I am almost certain that her parents actually named her Elizabeth, and it just got shortened down. Betty was born and raised in the little town of Seaforth, about a half-hour drive from the city of Halifax. As Betty grew up, she took a job cleaning the local Anglican church. Eventually, she married a local fisherman by the name of Jamie, who made an honest living and enough money to build the two of them a small and cozy home by the sea. All was well until one cold November afternoon. Jamie did not return from the sea. "Fell overboard," the captain told her. "The waters were too rough to pull him back in." Betty was heartbroken. She still kept her duties up at the church, but if she ever spoke a word after her husband's death, no one had been around to hear it spoke.
I think it's coming, the time is near, can't you hear it? The sky is falling, it's dangerous, coming for us, I've got a feeling. I just need to know if you'll be the one to hold me close.
She regularly walked through the graveyard and spent hours upon Jamie's empty grave in the shadow of a crudely carved wooden cross. It was nearly midnight in that cold and lonely graveyard that the sexton found her dead. She had fallen asleep and death had taken her away. They buried her in her husband's grave. It was empty after all. No one bothered to carve her name in that crude wooden cross, and after many decades passed, The cross rotted and fell, and the location of her grave has been long forgotten.
Would you leave me lonely? Be the one to hold me.
Local folks will tell you that her ghost has been seen descending the stairs in the church rectory. Other folks will say that she's usually seen outside of the church. Still others insist that they have seen her walking through the old graveyard. Many more claim to have seen her spirit overlooking the cold Atlantic shoreline, staring sadly out towards the open, lonely sea.
If this were the end of our love, would you still be there when the world falls apart? Would you find me, the stars burning out and the sun disappearing? Would I be the one that you call at the end of it all?
Coming up, the team heads to Seaforth in search of the mysterious Grey Lady.
We're in the oceanside town of Seaforth, Nova Scotia in search of the Grey Lady. However, before we continue our investigation, we wanted to take a little detour and show everybody the amazing day-to-day work of Hope and her team at Hope for Wildlife. Come with us.
I'm Hope Swinimer, the founder of the Hope for Wildlife Society. And Hope for Wildlife has been around for many, many years. We started back around 1996 trying to get permission to open the first ever wildlife rehabilitation center in Nova Scotia. And at the time I was working at Dartmouth Veterinary Hospital, and we'd receive a lot of phone calls almost every day. Someone would call and say, you know, a bird just hit my window, what do I do? Or the cat just brought home a squirrel, what do we need to do? They're injured. So thank heavens I worked for the best bosses ever, and they said bring them on in, we'll give them the medical care they need, and then of course I ended up taking them home to get them back to a healthy state to go back to the wild. And so it just sort of grew from there. It wasn't really planned, it just sort of happened. And what started as 40 or 50 animals a year has now grown into almost 5,000 to 7,000 animals each and every year. We've got a freshwater lake in front of us, we've got the ocean here, we got woods in behind us. It's very beautiful and peaceful, and that's what you need for rehab work. And there's lots of space. I don't think we'll ever run out of room, and it just works really well for our mission. At Hope for Wildlife, we really do three things. One is the rehabilitation work itself, but number two, and the thing that I feel will make the most difference, is the education work we do. And it's just letting people know what to do when they're in a situation. We've become very removed from our natural world in knowing what's normal behavior of nature and what's not. And a big part of what we do is answer the phones, answers people's questions so that good decisions can be made. And the third thing we do that a lot of people don't realize is the research work. And we do tons of necropsies on animals that don't make it. We do a lot of scientific research. We discover things. We were the first to discover the avian flu in Nova Scotia last year this time. So a big part is what we learn and are able to pass on to the community or the scientific community or the government. So lots of good data that we can share. We love being open to the public. We don't let people see the animals that are in rehabilitation. But they get to walk through our education area, they get to meet a lot of wild animals, and they get to learn the reasons why these animals come to us, because knowledge is so important. Because if we can prevent some of these issues from happening to begin with, that's what we're all about, and that's what we want to do. So we invite people to come in and learn about what is a wildlife rehabilitation center and what kind of work we do here. I feel so at home here and I feel welcomed here. We've had a ton of support and understanding, lots of caring, lots of hard workers we're able to hire from the community, which is amazing. And so that's the way we want to build it. We want it to be a community effort, which it is.
As luck would have it, visiting at Hope for Wildlife, we actually managed to connect with a member of staff here that has a direct connection to the Grey Lady of Seaforth. This person, Amy, has graciously offered to take us down to a location that they visit frequently, where there's a feeling of unease, like somebody's constantly watching them. And it just so happens that some of the stories that are being told about the Grey Lady of Seaforth really do center in that almost exact location. So we're going to take a run over there and meet up with Amy and see what we can find.
So this is the beach that I come to every day with my dog, and it's pretty quiet down here. You don't see a lot of other people. You can't see the road, you can't see any houses. It's almost like a whole other world down here. Sometimes when it's really quiet, I do get some really interesting feelings. I guess I do know the story about the ghost that lives in Seaforth, and she's always in the back of my mind somewhat, especially when it's really quiet and lonesome down here.
So as isolated as this feels when you first see it, and you know, as far as you can see with nothing really around, you're right, there is this weird, kind of like the tingle of the hairs on the back of your neck, like.
And I'll admit I may have felt like I was being watched over the edge of that cliff. I have turned around just unexpectedly when I was looking out to sea, and then I suddenly felt like I had to check over my shoulder.
Feeling connected to the world around you is something that a lot of people do lose on a regular basis. And to have a place that's special to you like this and to share it with us, we really appreciate that. It's an intriguing story, the tales of what's happened here. Seaforth is an incredible place, and we really just want to thank you for your time bringing us out here and sharing some of that. We just had a great conversation with Amy about the locations that she took us to, where she's had a very deep personal connection. Some great information and parts of the stories that all come together. People have seen a lot of things, felt things. Like I said, she's had a really great connection herself here. We're going to take some of our equipment, we're going to head up there ourselves, and we're going to see what we can experience too. Let's go. So we're up at a high point, and we got some equipment with us, but I just want to take some video footage from my point of view first, kind of walk out here. This is a very nice foggy afternoon seaside in Nova Scotia, where we get to a place where that is a quick drop right there. Straight down. This is very isolated feeling location, but this is the location, kind of like a widow's walk, where you would have like the ghost has been reported standing just like right here, staring off into the ocean. Very isolated view of everything. So standing up and around here, let's see if we can I know it's the middle of the day, but let's see if we can get anything here, shall we?
EMF detectors locate sources of electromagnetic radiation, Since ghosts are thought to emit electromagnetic radiation or disturb existing magnetic fields, these devices can be used to potentially detect them.
If there's anybody here, or if there's anything present, anybody, please make yourself known. We want to hear from you. We want to talk to you. Is there anybody here with us? This is an area so far removed from things and so very isolated for the most part that picking up your cell phone, you don't even get cell coverage out here. Take a walk 2 steps in that direction, you might get something, some bare cell coverage, picking it up from somewhere. A peak of something going on. Standing here would be like where Amy said that she would feel somebody would be staring at her from the beach below, staring down at her on the beach below. Sometimes getting that little glimmer of a spike on this kind of reaffirms, that there's something in the air that makes you feel that way. Something that might be kind of sparking that in you. All right, let's switch some gear, shall we?
The spirit box uses radio frequency sweeps to generate white noise. This gives some entities the energy they need to communicate. Interaction occurs as voices or sounds coming through the static.
Is there anybody here with us? If there's someone here, just come forward. Please tell us your name. Please come forward once again. We just want to talk to somebody. Want to hear something from somebody. And it still makes you wonder. We could be sitting here all day and we could pick up random things all day. The mindset that I always follow is that, there's not always a scheduled time to this thing. It's not like you can just snap your fingers and see it. People talk about events for years, across generations of seeing things and hearing things and experiencing things. Stories don't just happen when there's multiple accounts. People have talked about it. People have stated it. People have, absolutely brought their accounts to each other and told the stories and had extreme similarities, coming from entirely different backgrounds and knowledge on what happens. who are we to say, you know, what's true and what's not? There's no denying the beauty of the place. And there's a dreariness in a very, very misty, foggy, you know, seaside area.
Like being so richly steeped in history in the place I live, and you know, it kind of makes me feel super connected not only to the land but to the history of the land. And I guess that's why I choose to go along with the ghost stories. I have not seen a ghost, and I'm not one of those people that's walking around looking for one, but I'm pretty open to vibes. So like, I'm open to it the same way that I'm open to watching nature and feeling super immersed in it. Because I mean, it's all connected. What we can't see is still connected to what we can see.
People in Nova Scotia tell an awful lot of ghost stories. And I think a good part of the reason why they tell so many ghost stories is we live right on the side of the Atlantic Ocean, which is basically one big giant abyss. The people had to get used to the idea that their dad or their brother or their uncle was going to sail off one morning and not come back. So we've had to make friends with the afterlife, which is why us Nova Scotians love a good ghost story.